Football is back. Bills Mafia is back. We are ready for another entertaining and fun season. I'm back with another episode of AJ's Analysis today. I have a lot for you. I have seven amazing Bills fans joining me throughout the show. We have a lot to talk about. Bills versus Jets coming up here within the next couple of hours. Obviously, maybe a weather delay slowing that down. But for today, I have a lot of good things going on. I got 7 fans joining me, talking about their players to watch, maybe a little bit of a prediction, where they're from, kind of their background, how maybe they became a Bills fan. I'm just trying to get people to talk about how they feel about this big game, a huge game for the Bills beginning. So I'm going to get started here with Max. He's my first guest. Max, how you doing today?
Good, man. How's it going?
Good. Just tell me a little bit about maybe how you started your kind of fandom with the Bills, and maybe a little bit about where you're from, and that's about it.
Yeah. So I started off. I lived in New York City for about probably first 8 years of my life, and really wasn't into football at all. And then ended up moving up to Buffalo, and all my family that was in Buffalo. They were all diehard Bills fans, and that's really where it started for me. And then all my friends, just living in Buffalo full time, it's like you just naturally become a Bills fan. So there's a little bit about that. I played football through high school. I played football at ECC actually one year with in the year that I played, Curtis Ricavino was actually on the team. So I think he's a front office guy now for the Bills actually. So yeah, that's cool. And then I live in Texas now. I live in Austin, and carried it down here. Made a bunch of friends down here in Austin. Had my rehearsal dinner for my wedding at the local Bills bar down here, so that was fun. And after this, going to go back there and get ready for the game.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's a lot of, I don't know if there's a lot of Cowboys fans around you, but I'm sure that there's probably a nice feeling down in Texas this morning and today because of what happened last night.
Yeah, I mean, last night was crazy, first of all, but yeah, a lot of happy Cowboys fans for sure.
All right, Max, give me your players to watch for this Bills-Jets battle on Monday night.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the rookies, both Kincaid and Torrance, play. I feel like Kincaid, if he can live up to the role that everybody says he can live up to, of being that, just that kind of Travis Kelce-like slot guy who can fill the void like Beasley did, because I truly feel like Josh was most comfortable when Beasley was on the team in the slot role, where they could throw a little 3-yard pass, but it would go for 8 or 9 and put us in second and short, and not have us in third and long and whatnot sort of positions. And I think it's been like probably since Rousseau that it felt that the Bills were all in on starting a rookie. And Rousseau's been great over the last 2 years. He's obviously shown a lot of growth, but it's going to be cool to see 2 rookies, Kincaid and Torrance, both get to start. Well, I don't know if Kincaid's listed as the starter, but I'm sure he's going to play a ton.
Yeah, those are definitely 2 intriguing matchups. Again, Torrance did not allow a sack in college, won the right guard battle against Ryan Bates this offseason. I think he's had a very good offseason training camp, and in the preseason looked good as well. Kincaid as well, his sure hands, his elite route running ability. Those are both great selections. I think both of them will have a big impact. And Brandon Beane does get some, backlash for his drafting, but these 2 guys seem to, have the potential to be one of the most impactful rookies, first and second round picks that the Bills have had in quite some time. Max, what is your prediction for the game, and maybe just your thoughts on this team overall and where you think they can go?
Yeah, I'm going to go 24-13 Bills. The weather was freaking me out a little bit, but I heard that the weather's passing, so as long as the ball's dry, I feel good. But overall, I think that this is honestly, on paper, this is the best roster we've had since Josh has been the quarterback. And we're not getting talked about by the media as much as we were last year because of the way that the end of the season went. But I mean, that's fine, and nobody's paying really people. A lot of people are counting the Bills out, and truly, I mean, we've been an elite team the last 3-4 years, and I really do believe that this is the best roster we've had in that time.
And now I have a surprise question for each of you. I didn't tell you guys this prior, so you guys are gonna have to be ready. Who are you more scared of, the Jets or the Dolphins, for the division?
I'm going to say the Jets, because the Dolphins, they can put up points, but we can put up points too. And the Dolphins defense, I think, is better than the Jets. And as long as we can hold off the Jets front 7, I think, and like Josh can stay cool and composed, I think we're good.
All right, Max, you enjoy yourself. Thank you for coming on
man.
today. Great knowledge, great insight. And you know what? Again, Torrance, Kincaid, maybe those 2 guys have some big games today. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, man. Go Bills.
Go Bills. That was Max from Texas. Next up, we have Joe, diehard Bills fan. Again, he's got I can see him in the background here. He's got a very cool background that I think most of you will enjoy that are live. If you haven't liked the video already, please do. I appreciate all the likes on Facebook, YouTube. If you're on Twitter, come in the chat, interact, ask questions. We are previewing the game today here as well. So if you have any questions about the game or my thoughts on any of it, please drop comments in the YouTube comments. Joe, how you doing?
Good, AJ. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. So just, again, background about you, yourself, where you're from, kind of how your fandom started, and that's about it.
So it started, as early as I can remember as a kid. My family's from Buffalo. I grew up in South Florida, but my grandpa, he was a season ticket holder for 40 years. So growing up, we would visit every winter, and he would take me to games. We would watch all the games. So he pretty much started me as early as I can remember. Just teach me everything there is to know about football, all the classics that we grew up watching. So at times, though, it was difficult growing up in Florida being a Bills fan, especially with Dolphin fans. They tend to get on you pretty good. But each year I would go to that game whenever that game was hosted down in South Florida. I live in Michigan now, in the west part of Michigan in Grand Rapids. So, I got two little ones. They're both going to be hopefully following in my footsteps. I already got them all dressed up in the Zubas and everything. So
you're a good dad. You're a good dad.
Get them started the right way.
Absolutely. All right. Players to watch for today's battle for the Bills and Jets.
So I had Kincaid and Torrance as well, both rookies, just for them starting. We don't obviously have that very often with Buffalo. They don't start rookies very often. But so I'll go with Rousseau and Bernard. Biggest with Bernard is just him having that green dot, not having that time in that preseason, that communication factor. How is it going to work? Just getting the plays out to everybody, and just making sure everybody's in that right spot. And then with Rousseau, just seeing him make that next leap, getting that double-digit sacks. And I just if we don't get to Rodgers tonight, that's what makes me worried, that he's just going to sit back there and kind of pick us apart. So we just got to get pressure on him because he's not 20 years old anymore. He's 40. He's not mobile. He gets any pressure, it's just downhill from there.
Yeah, he's definitely not as mobile as he used to be. I think the Bills bringing a lot of, kind of pressures, kind of different looks to see, what's McDermott going to be able to do. I'll get to that later. But what will McDermott be able to do with, this new defense? Kind of, you have a couple of new guys in the interior. You add Leonard Floyd. You obviously have the big middle linebacker, replacement with Terrell Bernard, replacing Tremaine Edmonds. And then you have Benford again, who gets the starting job over Kaiir Elam. Kaiir Elam is a healthy scratch today. So that's an interesting thing, but not surprised just because of numbers. And I think you don't want to start, or you don't want to have three boundary corners behind Trey White active. You just want to kind of have that guy that can do both with special teams. And I think Cam Lewis is the guy for that. Joe, what is your prediction for the game tonight? And also, do you believe that the Bills can go far this year?
For tonight, I predict 27-20 Bills. Biggest thing is just, like we said, just controlling the game. Big thing with the run game. Even if we're not necessarily successful at the run, just keeping them honest. And Josh is not just dropping back 50 times and just being one-dimensional. So I think if we're able to just run the ball efficiently, that'll help a long ways. So 27-20. And I do think, this is one of the best rosters they have assembled. We have the experience. I know each loss in the playoffs is tough, but I do believe they will get over the hump. We've been saying that for a very long time. Unfortunately, it's been 35 years for me, and each year it's the same thing. You always think that they will get over that hump. And then the question that you did ask about the Dolphins and the Jets, which one's the bigger threat?
I have a different question for you, Joe. I have a different question for you.
You have a okay.
Yeah, I'm doing it for each person. I got a different question. So my question for you is, Who has more receiving yards tonight, Gabe Davis or Allen Lazard?
That's tough. I would have to go Davis. Yeah, I would have to go Gabe. I could see that was one thing they were talking about in the offseason. Sauce Gardner, he only lined up on one side of the field all last year. Is that going to change this year? Is he going to shadow the number one receiver for each team? I can see him doing that more with Diggs, him getting double teamed a little bit more, taking him out of the game. So I think Davis will step up in that aspect. I think Lazard can still have a good game, but with a healthy Gabe Davis, I think we're going to see what we saw in the playoff game where he had the 4 touchdowns and then the beginning of last year before he got hurt. I really think he can take that next leap.
All right, Joe, thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the game with your kids, and hopefully at the end of the night, we're talking a Bills W.
Yes, sir. Thank you, AJ. Go Bills.
All right, have a good one. Go Bills. That was Joe from Michigan, big Bills fan. He said it's been raining there all day. So the rain, I think, is coming to Buffalo tomorrow. So it's going to be a fun one tomorrow in Buffalo. A very wet rain. But we're going to go to Eric. Eric, how are you today? How's it going? And where are you from? Why the Bills? Why are they your team? And just a little background about yourself.
From Gowanda, New York, about 40 miles south of Orchard Park. Lived here my whole life, all 30 years. Originally, I was an Eagles fan up until like 05, 06. Mainly big Donovan McNabb guy, being from Syracuse. And then as I hit high school, just kind of fell more in line with the Bills. And then once the whole Bills Mafia thing started up is when I really just, the fandom took over, and now it's Bills or nobody.
All right. Who are your players to watch for the Bills-Jets battle?
First is Micah Hyde, being his first actual real in-game action in almost a year. Just want to see how he's doing. He's getting up there in age too, so I just want to see if he lost a step or not. Trey White is my other one. Just, again, same thing. He was not himself last year coming off the ACL injury, so I want to see how he looks after a full offseason of being healthy. And third, I think just the defensive unit as a whole, with McDermott taking over as basically being the de facto defensive coordinator. I know he said about being more aggressive and getting after the quarterback, so I want to see if they actually do that as opposed to, Leslie Frazier lining up 10 yards off of Bengals receivers in the playoffs and just not doing a thing. That still bothers me.
Right. So are you a believer in the kind of Sean McDermott taking over the play calling? Or are you kind of like, we'll kind of see how it goes? Do you believe in McDermott to be able to take this defense to another level, or should I say be his ability to coach the defense in clutch situations? Do you think that is better?
Yes, I do. I think his more aggressive nature is better for the clutch, as to where Frazier was good, but it seemed anytime they needed a stop, whether it was the 3rd and longs or, 3rd and shorts, he was just always like the wrong scheme for it. Like I said, the Bengals game was 3rd and 3, and they had him playing 10 yards off. Like that can't happen regardless. So I hope McDermott fixes that, especially if he's blitzing more.
Right. All right. Predictions and for the game tonight. And then also, how far do you think this Bills team can go?
I'm saying low scoring defensive game. Both defenses, I think, are top 5, if not top 3. I'm going to say 21-17 Buffalo. And I mean, if the Bills stay healthy and this offense explodes this year under Dorsey, I mean, the Bengals looked absolutely atrocious. And I thought they were yesterday, and I thought they were the Bills' biggest threat. So I'm going to say Buffalo can reach the Super Bowl, but it's going to rely solely on how the offense is this year.
All right, Eric, thank you so much. Enjoy the game tonight. And hopefully, again, we're talking about a Bills W.
Yep. Sounds good. Go Bills.
See ya. D-Rum, what is up, my man? How are you? Again, let's start with what we've been doing. Your thoughts. Sorry, not your thoughts. Where you're from, why you're a Bills fan, and just kind of the history of your Bills fandom.
Yeah. So thanks for having me on. First of all, AJ, always a pleasure to talk with you. I was actually born in Springfield, Massachusetts. Very lucky that my family is not very engrossed in football outside of myself, or I could have become a Patriots fan at some point. But around in college, I started to really get engrossed in football. I went to Alfred State. I live up here in upstate New York, right by Rochester. So at that point, once I started getting into it, I kind of looked into the history of the Buffalo Bills. the 4 Super Bowl losses, and part of it just kind of stuck with me, and I was really attracted to the team, and also had plenty of friends involved with them as well. So jumped right in, and just been fascinated with football ever since. All the intricacies, strategy, it's fascinating stuff to me. So just been locked in ever since to the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, it's definitely the most prominent sport right now. I think year in, year out, I think it just gets more and more popular. Football is kind of the big thing. Everyone waits for it. It's like a 5-month season. So that anticipation and wait you experience in the offseason. And there's always stuff to talk about too. Like an offseason in the NFL, there's draft, there's free agency, there's OTAs, there's a lot you can talk about while football is not actually in season. But again, the Bills season starts today. So D-Rum, your thoughts on the Bills and players to watch for this team?
Yeah, so I have 3 different players I'm really interested in tonight. Dalton Kincaid, the rookie tight end, as well as Dawson Knox, and Spencer Brown. I'm very intrigued based on the Jets linebacker coverage. I think that's one of the best spots to expose them. So I do think we're going to see some slot option with the tight ends for Kincaid. And I also think Dawson Knox is going to be there a lot on the right side to help chip some of the defensive tackles or DNs, so to say, to help Spencer Brown out. So I do see that there's probably a potential that we see them lull them to sleep, so to say, where you see Dalton Kincaid Dawson Knox have more of a breakout game than we may think. A lot of people are focused on Kincaid. Knox with that blocking threat. I do think there's more potential there to see him break 1 or 2 of these out. And then obviously Spencer Brown with his back, he's kind of been held back on his development. There's a lot of question marks. A lot of people view it as the weak part of the offensive line. So interested to see him in pass blocking specifically. I do think he's going to be great as usual in the run blocking game.
All right, my question for you before we get to your prediction and what you think the Bills can do this year. Who has more yardage? Because you seem like you're a Dalton Kincaid fan, but I think you have some Dawson Knox, kind of fanage in you too. Who has more success this year, Kincaid or Knox?
In ways, I think that's a loaded question because of the word success. So yards, touchdowns, I do think Dalton Kincaid is going to grow over the season, and I think he's going to have more of an impact. But I do think from a blocking standpoint and the 12 personnel threat, I think Dawson Knox is going to have more crucial opportunities at points in the game that matter more. So he may be not looked at the same as Kincaid at the end of the year, but I do think they're both going to hold a very important role.
Yeah, they both could be equally good. Like to your point,
sure.
I think they could both just really excel in this offense. I think Dorsey wanted to use 12 personnel last year as a point of emphasis, but they just didn't have. Quentin Morris was not. He's a 2021 UDFA. Was a practice squad guy in 21, and then in 2022 he made the roster. But he's kind of redundant to Kincaid as well. So.
Yep.
All right, prediction tonight. We're about an hour away. I don't know if the game's delayed. I haven't checked my phone, but I think the weather cleared up, so I think it's looking good. I think for an 8:30 start or whatever it may be. D-Rum, your prediction, and where do you think the Bills can go this year?
Yeah, so I don't want to give a score prediction. I'm a little superstitious with that, but I will give you some different predictions. I do think the first touchdown of the season is going to go to Gabe Davis. One of my other predictions, I do think that we are going to see a lot more of an exotic look on defense than we're used to with McDermott. I'm predicting that we're going to see either a safety or linebacker sack. I do see that they're going to be running a lot of exotic looks where we're not exactly brushing, but you're not going to know who's coming and going, so to say. So I'm super excited to see how that defense looks. And then my final prediction would be that I do think Josh Allen throws 3 touchdowns to 3 separate targets in this game.
All right, you heard it from D-Rum first. It's going to be a good offensive day for the Bills. Allen's going to be spreading the ball around like crazy, and the Bills are going to have a lot of success.
Yep.
D-Rum, thank you for coming in. I appreciate your time, and go enjoy the game. I hope you have fun.
For sure, AJ. And the Bills are going to the Super Bowl. You better bet with all the healthy people we got back, the bodies and the additions. Let's go. We're ready.
All right, Bills are going to the Super Bowl. D-Rum, I will clip that if they do. You have a good night.
Let's go. Thanks. You too.
That was D-Rum. Thank him for coming in. I really appreciate it. If you're in the stream right now, please like, share, whatever you may do. If you're listening on audio tomorrow, I know we'll have the game result, but you can still kind of listen to this for the preview and what was kind of the talking points prior to the game. Next up, the best background of them all, like hands down. This guy's got his background is like fascinating. I love it. Pat, he's coming in. How you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Just again, tell me about yourself, why you're a Bills fan, and kind of how it's all started for you.
Yeah, I guess first, thanks for having me on. My son's upstairs getting a kick out of this, seeing me on TV, so he's enjoying that. Shout out Logan upstairs. But yeah, I actually kind of funny story. So my dad grew up a Jets fan. I live like basically I could throw a rock to New Jersey from my house. I live right on the borderline, down by about 25 minutes from MetLife. So my dad grew up a Jets fan, and when they left and went to Jersey, he swore them off, and that was the end of Jets life when he said, "I can't root for New Jersey team." So then the red, white, and blue grew up. I loved Andre Reed when I was a kid, and now I sucked in the rest of the family to all being Bills fans, and my wife converted her to Bills fans. Also shout out my dad. He's NYPD, September 11th. Appreciate you, Dad. He was down there for a lot of that stuff. So big day for our family here. I guess a little bit about me. I'm a K-5 phys ed teacher, gym teacher. I coached high school football for 10 years. Still helping out with team in our town now, Pro River Pirates. Yeah, just huge Bills fan. Never miss a game. Yeah, it's about that's me.
Awesome stuff. Who are your players to watch tonight? We're about an hour away.
So, now, like a lot of the other guys, I think just, we're all curious about Kincaid and stuff like that. I want to see just what it looks like, first round pick. But I was talking to my dad on the phone the other night, and really, it's James Cook for me. Forever, my entire childhood through, or teenagers, 20s, whatever, through the misery of all the losing. We always had a great running back, the guy you can get behind, stuff like that. Then we get Josh Allen, and then the running game disappears minus him. So last year it just felt like, and no offense to Devin Singletary, like seems like a great dude, great teammate, works hard, but just like you just never felt like that electricity coming out of him. And then you see James Cook, and he just hits like a half second, quarter second faster through the hole, and you just feel that ability, like bigger stuff can happen out of him, where instead of 4 or 5 yards, maybe 3-4 yards, it could be 15, 20, 25, 80, and so I don't know. That's kind of the thing I'm looking for tonight is the O-line and James Cook, and will he start making something happen so Josh won't feel the need to run as much as he does?
Okay, so my follow-up question with you, because you kind of said it before the show, James Cook was the guy. I love the pick. I think the Bills are going to really implement him more this year, not only in the run game, but the short passing game. I think he's very good at that sort of thing. Does James Cook, for you, reach 1,000 all-purpose yards this year?
All-purpose? I think.
All-purpose.
Yeah, no doubt, I think. I think more in the 1350 area for him all-purpose. I mean, staying that if he stays healthy.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. I'm with you. I think he's an 1,000 or 1,000 all-purpose yards player this year. Prediction: Super Bowl or bust for the Bills this year. What are your thoughts on the overall team, the dynamic, and just your prediction for tonight?
I mean, I never would have thought, 5 years ago, I just feel like Super Bowl or bust. But I mean, that's really where we're at, right? I mean, there's the window. We got Josh. We got our guy. I mean, this team. I was talking to a fellow teacher of mine at school today. He's talking about tonight, and I was like, we were 13-3 last year. We lost combined by like 8 points, those 3 games. Had a ton of stuff happen and just ran out of gas. So I have no reason. I think we got better. I think Leonard Floyd makes us better when Von's back with it. I mean, yeah, you gotta think Super Bowl. I mean, right? I mean, otherwise, what are we here for?
Right.
But as far as tonight, I actually think it's going to be a little bit higher scoring than, I see a lot of people going a little bit lower the scores. I think it's more in like the 27-23 kind of area, Bills. But I don't know. I think both these offenses are going to come out of the gate swinging.
All right, Pat. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it could be – I'm at 24-23. That's my prediction. So, I'm kind of in that area. That's kind of where I'm at. Obviously, the Bills taking the victory. But Pat, thank you for your story. It was great having you on. Thank you for sharing kind of your background and what you're about, what you do. Is really cool. Again, love the background and enjoy the game with your son.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
That was Pat. Awesome guest, awesome stuff. 25 minutes outside MetLife. He said before the show that it's clearing up there, so it's going to be rain-free weather for the big game. 2 guests left. One, I've known him my whole life, not my whole life, but a lot of my life. And then the last guest will be Kevin Masseri from Cover One. We're gonna give you a little 15-minute preview, kind of go in depth here, with about an hour left before kickoff. But Nate Hazard, live from Brockport, the RA himself, is getting ready for a big game tonight, Bills versus Jets. Nate, tell the people a little bit about yourself, why you're a fan, how it kind of all started, and why you're still a loyal fan after going through all the drought years and stuff like that.
Yeah, bro. My name's obviously, as you mentioned, my name's Nate. I'm from Buffalo, New York. I grew up on Lake Erie. I go to Brockport, as you mentioned. Go Neils, But I go to Brockport. I'm a physical education major. I love the Bills, man. That's what it is. We grew up in Buffalo. That's all we've ever known. But Bills and Sabres, bro. That's it. It's nobody else. It's Bills and Sabres. That's it.
Yep, that's for sure. All right, players to watch for the game. You can give, if you want to go, I said before you missed it, but if you want to go Jets and Bills player, if you want to do one of each, 2 of each, go ahead. Give me your players to watch for tonight's game.
All right, so here's my thing. I have 4, but it's 2 and 2. Okay, because the first 2 I'm looking for, Kincaid and Knox. I'm interested to see how Ken Dorsey is going to implement the 12 personnel. I just saw that the Bills YouTube just posted yesterday on their YouTube a video of explaining what 12 personnel is. So I'm hopefully that's a sign of things to come. I'm really interested. I know that we were bottom in the league last year in 12 personnel, so that should be really interesting. 2 tight end sets. That's exciting for me personally because we obviously we need a spark. We like Pat said in the last one. We kind of just ran out of gas last year, and we faced a tough Cincinnati team, obviously, that we didn't get to face a couple weeks prior, extenuating circumstances. But, but we need more weapons, bro. And I'm looking forward to Kincaid. I know that they got more juice left than Knox because obviously they signed him an extension. They see something in him, right? So I'm looking for him, and then my other 2 are Allen and Diggs. Obviously, right, Allen and Diggs. Those were our guys, But I'm looking for them because we had a lot of stuff go on over the off season. Does Diggs want to be here? Get sent home the first day of camp. It's like what's going on with them? And I'm just excited to see obviously there was some things that Diggs was frustrated about, and I'm interested to see if they kick those to the curb for real,
Yeah, I think Allen and Diggs, again, they've been a lethal connection during training camp as well as in the preseason. They've had their moments as well. I think you're going to see a lot of hitch routes in the 1 to 10 yard range. I think Diggs dominates in that area while also being able to be that downfield target. Nate, my question for you, you hinted at the Knox Kincaid thing. I think that's exciting. The 12 personnel usage, that's a big talking point for most Bills fans. There's this Kincaid jersey that he won over the summer. But Nate, what is your prediction for this game tonight, and how far do you think this Bills team could go?
Man, I've been thinking a lot about it. I know we're facing the Jets on 9/11 in MetLife. It's going to be a tough game. Obviously, Rodgers' first game. The Jets do have a lot of momentum. I talked to some people earlier. They're like, yeah, man, the Jets have a lot of momentum, and being up here at Brockport, there's a mix of a lot of fans. There's Jets fans, there's Giants fans. So I catch a lot of flack for being a Bills fan sometimes, but you know what, man, we are still that team. The windows never close when you have Josh Allen. Windows never close when you have Stephon Diggs, and I have a really good feeling about it. I'm gonna go with 27-24, just as Pat said the last guy that said it, 27-24. I think that's pretty simple. Get in and get out with a win.
All right, Nate, thank you for tuning in. Again, enjoy your time watching the game tonight in Brockport. I hope you enjoy it.
Hey, pray for the tables, baby. Let's go.
All right, see ya. That was Nate Hazard live from Brockport. That will do it for all the guests. I do have Kevin Masseri coming on here in a minute, but I'm just going to start kind of previewing this game a little bit. I'm going to go here for about another 15 minutes, just give my thoughts on what might happen tonight and how this game's ultimately going to go. Look, the media, the national media has been down on the Bills, all this year. That's been the talking point. The national media has been so high on the Jets and the Bills. The window's closed, and Josh Allen, he wasn't focused last year, and Stephon Diggs wants out, and Von Miller, is too old, and Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde are too old. And you watch Monday Night Countdown today, and they're talking about all they're talking about is the Jets and how they're the better roster than the Bills, and they just need to figure it out. And they have a chance to be something very special, which I can see. I think the Jets can be special. But I think the Bills are in a perfect spot going into this year. They're not the favorites. They're not the talking point. They're not the darlings of the NFL. They're now the team that is looked at as the group of players and as a coaching staff, as the team that can't get over the hump, the team that can't get past the division round, the team that is behind Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen isn't as good as Patrick Mahomes as Joe Burrow in the clutch. That's kind of been the narrative. This is your chance tonight to squash all of that. On 9/11, emotional night for all of the whole country, but especially the people of New York. You go into MetLife, you have every opportunity on the national stage. The Chiefs lose to the Lions on national TV. They go 0-1. The Bengals look putrid yesterday. Now, I will say this. I think the Bengals will bounce back, and I think the Chiefs are still a 13-win team. But you have an opportunity right here to start 1-0 and get ahead of those teams that you've been kind of dealing with the past couple of years. And I know you might not think it matters, but this game is a huge game. I think it's a tone setter from a lot of angles. But the big thing for me is, look, you have a chance to prove. I think they know within themselves who they are. I think they know what they can be. I think maybe some players have some doubts because they've fallen short. But I think at the end of the day, they know who they are. Tonight's a night, and I know they don't care about it, but I think the Bills fans do, because I think the lack of respect has bothered most of us this offseason. If the Bills go out and show tonight who they are and what they were at the beginning of last season, where they were just dialing up plays, Ken Dorsey was on fire, the defense was causing havoc. And if you go into MetLife and get this win, it's a huge game. It's a huge chance for the Bills to really show who they are and their resilience after everything that they went through last year. It was just, it's crazy to think about. I've went over it time and time again. It's a big game, and it's on national TV, and it's Aaron Rodgers. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. In terms of the actual football game, the X's and O's part of it, look, the offensive line's better. You have Torrance at right guard, who I think is an upgrade. You have Connor McGovern at left guard, who I think is an upgrade over Saffold. Obvious. I think Saffold shouldn't even have been on a team. Mitch Morse and Dawkins, your two best offensive linemen you were able to keep. And then on the right side, you got Spencer Brown, the biggest question mark. But again, I think in the run game, I'm not concerned. But in the passing game, we'll see how it goes. The Bills, talent-wise this year, with Hardy, Shakir, Sherfield, Diggs, Davis, Kincaid, Knox, Cook, Harris, like that's a very solid squad. And you can argue who has the better roster, Jets or Bills. I'll take the Bills because I think they have the continuity and they don't have a lot of new pieces, and they're bringing back 75% of that roster. So with that being said, the Bills have a chance here to really do some great things. Again, the offensive playmakers are so good this year compared to last year on paper, and I also think the offensive line is upgraded. So if you look at it that way, the Bills are going to have to score points. You're going up against Rodgers. It's not Zach Wilson or Micah White like last year. So that's where I think they're going to have to decipher, like, hey, we're going to have to put up points this year. We can't do what we did last year and kind of have a dull turn over the ball. Josh Allen had 2 picks in MetLife last year. So I think Josh Allen needs to play smart football, get the ball out quick, use your running game, lean on James Cook. I think he's a special player. When you get in the red zone, use Damian Harris, again, a touchdown getter, a guy that has been able to score touchdowns quite frequently throughout his career. So you have that dynamic. And then the receivers, I want Gabe Davis. I think he's going to, again, have a big game tonight. They're going to move him all over the place, something we haven't really seen much of. You're going to have Deontay Hardy in the slot with Kincaid. So you're going to have a lot of different things going on for the offense. And as I'm going on my rant, Kevin Masseri is here in the building, joining me. We're about an hour before kickoff, Kevin. I feel it. I'm getting excited. It's been a long, wait for this, because the last time we saw this team, it was kind of it was almost embarrassing, being there. Like I left with like 14 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I couldn't handle it. But Kevin, I'm talking about just kind of the offense right now. Give me your thoughts. How will the offense do, and will it be kind of a different look, or will it be a lot of things with just a lot of wrinkles?
I think you're going to see a more aggressive new style of offense. I think you're going to see a 12 personnel package. I think they want to create more mismatches. You saw a similar performance or really scheming up receivers wide open yesterday by a couple of different coaches, most notably Tyreek Hill, and what they were able to do with him in motion, simplifying his route tree and getting him in space. I think you're going to see the same thing with the Bills and Diggs today, as well as Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox on the field at the same time. By definition, 12 personnel there, whether they line up in a true 2 inline set, they split him out wide, split out Dalton Kincaid or Dawson Knox. So I think you're going to see a multitude of different assignments here given to every player. And then what happens when you trot in Trent Sherfield, when you trot in Deontay Hardy, a Trent Sherfield and Diggs at receiver? Are they going to run out of that? They're still very, very much so could pass out of a set with those two receivers as well. So what about with Shakir and Davis come on the field? What does that look like? So I think the Bills are going to be further ahead of the Jets than on the offensive side of the ball, especially. I think both defenses will come in pretty good shape. The inactive notice of Carl Lawson's a pretty big news update that they kind of kept to themselves. That's their starting D end. That's a pretty big deal. That'd be like the Bills deciding that Greg Rousseau needed another week to get ready, or Leonard Floyd, whoever it may be. But someone in the system would be more like Greg Rousseau. So that's a big update. He was one of the keys to the game in their pass rush and takes a bite out of it. So I think the Bills can focus interior wise with Quentin, with Q Ball, as they call him. And then you got Quentin Jefferson. The Bills fans have seen Quentin Jefferson. I'm not overly enthralled by this Jets defensive line right now. Carl Lawson was a big piece of it. But Quentin Williams is the piece next to Quentin Jefferson, next to John Franklin Myers. So we're going to have to see what they're able to do. And then Will Anderson or, whoever they will have come off the edge, Jermaine Johnson as well. So it's going to be a fun one, but I do believe the Bills offense will be ahead of the Jets offense.
Now, Kevin, with that said, and they talked about it, and the national guys are talking about it, and I do agree to an extent because I think a player can bring a kind of a unit to another level. Aaron Rodgers arriving with the Jets almost, I think, gives the Jets defense something more to play for. Not that they aren't playing hard every game, but when you have Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the ball, I think that look what happened with the Bucs when Brady arrived. They just turned it up on another level on the defense side of the ball. Their defense was just better. It was overall just a better defense just because of the presence of a guy that's that generationally good. That's kind of what happens. Quentin Williams, a guy that I think can also get to another level. Sauce Gardner, I think, is a guy that can get to another level. Are you worried at all going into this game about this Jets defense just taking over this Bills offense and getting it done? Or are you not concerned at all? You think the Bills are going to have it figured out and they have a great game plan going in? Can't hear you, Kev.
Can you hear
me? There you go. You're back. Go ahead.
Weird. That was super weird. Like auto muted me. Never had that happen before. But I don't believe.
Must have been a bad take on it.
Yeah, it was terrible. Maybe I got auto muted by my football takes god.
Robert Saleh.
Yeah, he was like, I don't like this take. You've seen Josh Allen beat Robert Saleh before. I thought last year was an anomaly. You had one game in sleeting rain and snow that the Bills still looked okay. Josh Allen ran up a storm in that game. Then you had another game where he just didn't play very well. He didn't. At MetLife last year. Wasn't Josh one of his worst games of his career. I don't know if there's a trend there yet, AJ, more than there is that the Jets played him pretty tough last year. The Bills are going to take him seriously. Like I told Jets fans this week, look, if you want to be in primetime, you've now made it to primetime. You're going to get primetime Josh. You're not going to get 1 p.m. Josh, sleepy team, kind of going through the motions, just thinking they're going to get a win because they're better. That's done. The Jets are not in that camp anymore, AJ. So I do believe you're going to see the best version, the 18 touchdown Josh version, the 3 interception Josh version, the 11-3 in prime time. Like you're not going to get a sleepy Josh going through the motions here. Will their defense do enough to win? I mean, that's always on the table. That defense is good enough, and they can do a lot of different things right. But I do think you see a strong Josh Allen. He's always good against teams he lost to the previous year. I believe he's 7-0 coming off teams that he lost to previously. So you're going to get the best version of Josh. You don't generally get him twice, but if he does get got, there's something to be said that he can't play at MetLife. So, but he's already proven that he's been able to. But MetLife against Robert Saleh, I guess you could start to make that comparison. But up until last year, he's had no problems with Robert Saleh defenses in San Francisco, or in his first couple of years as coach. Just he had a bad performance at MetLife last year, and maybe there is something to take away from that. But I think Josh has had a whole offseason to think about it, to plan. This was one of the worst he has played recently in his career. So I do think Josh generally, like he said in Green Bay last year against Aaron Rodgers, he said that was the worst I had played as a rookie against Green Bay. I got to clean it up, and he did. I think you'll see the same here as you see another performance where this is, beside the Green Bay rookie year and a couple other performances, it was one of the worst games he had played as a pro. So I think you'll see the best version of Josh outside of, I'm not exactly sure what could go wrong here, but primetime Josh is proven. It's more proven than the 1 game sample size struggles at MetLife last year.
All right, Kevin, we're going to go keys of the game, and then we'll get out of here because I think, I don't want to go too far in before the kickoff begins. Give me 1 key to the game on offense for the Bills to get it done, 1 key for the defense, and then I will follow.
Yeah, 1 key for the Bills to get it done today is to keep the ball, run it well, and get it out of 12 personnel. I think if they're strong, they bring something new to the table that no one in the league has seen, not even Robert Saleh, in terms of what this Bills offense can do. I think it'll be a long day, and I think that's how you beat the Jets defense, is keeping them guessing, keeping that vaunted D-line at bay, and showing this new school running game. What can Damian Harris do? I think that's a key to the game. I'm not sure how many more carries James Cook will get over Damian Harris. We'll see today in about 45 minutes to a half an hour here on if that'll be true. Keys to the defense. The pass rush. Can it get there against a bad? We did not see them do it against a banged up Bengals line to finish the year last year. This is the time they need to actually show it. They even increased it from, they added in a healthy Daquan Jones. They've added in Poona Ford. They've added in Leonard Floyd. There's just too many additions there to be had, and a healthy defensive line against a never played together offensive line. AJ, it's different than at the end of the year when you guys know each other. This is at the start of the season. They need to get after it. They need to make Aaron Rodgers throw within a second. And if he does that, I feel pretty good about the Bills keeping everything in front of them because Aaron's going to get the ball out. It's going to limit the plays that he's able to make. All
right, I will go with mine offensively. It's the simplest one, but I think it's an important one. It's protect Josh Allen. You have a new right guard. You have a new left guard. The continuity of those two, that interior, is a big question mark for me. I think they have obviously they have a tremendous ability. I think it's an upgrade on paper, but I want to see it in action. You have a big test with Quentin Williams. It's a huge task for either Torrance or McGovern, and Morris too as well if they decide to maybe double team him. And then the right side, obviously Spencer Brown. This is, if you want to make a statement as a player, and I think his ability to pull in the run game and his ability to maul people and spring free guys, that's not really his question mark. That's a thing that I think he's already kind of proven to me. I'm not really worried about that. The question is on a 3rd and 8, if they're bringing 6 or 7, is that right side of the line going to be able to communicate with Spencer Brown and Torrance to pick up the right guys? And, you need to be able to block, whether that's Dawson Knox on the right side, chipping to help Spencer Brown, whether that's having enough confidence in Spencer Brown where he can win those one-on-one battles. That's what's going to be the thing for the offense. Josh Allen, having time to throw, getting it out quickly, using that short passing game as an extension of the running game, using Damian Harris in the red zone, using James Cook as well. So all those things combined. Defensively, again, I'm going to stick with the defensive line, but I'm going to go a different route. I think it's the defensive line taking up blocks so Terrell Bernard is able to get comfortable and help defend the run game. It's a big question for Bernard. Obviously, he has the green dot. He's calling the plays. Will the defensive line be able to soak up blocks for an undersized linebacker? And I'm not undersized, but a smaller linebacker. Is he going to be able to help stop the run and get to those gaps and fill them and make some plays? I think a lot of it's on the defensive line. Some of it's on Bernard as well. But I think with the defensive line being dominant in the pass and run game really helps Bernard get comfortable headed into this game. That's a big question mark for me because, look, Dalvin Cook, I think he has something to prove coming off of Minnesota. No one really wanted him. Then he ends up with the Jets. People have said he's lost a step. He had 1,000 yards last year. He had a good game against the Bills, but he had one long run, but he still dominated that game. I think he had a really good game. And then obviously Breece Hall coming off that ACL injury. What is he? Is he the same player that he once was? the running back situation for the Jets right now is my kind of talking point. But Kevin, before we get out of here, it's been a great show so far. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in and joining me. It's been a great show. Your prediction for the game and, just kind of how I want a confidence level, Kevin. I want like a 1 to 10. Like how confident? Because you can have that fake confidence as a Bills fan. Because like that 2020 season going into the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, I was like, yeah, I'm confident, but like we knew it was going to happen because it was Patrick Mahomes.
It's like a 2 out of 10, right?
Right. So, what is your confidence level going into this game and your score prediction?
I don't know. I think when the Jets are ticking on all cylinders, and we've seen it, and they do strike some threat into us, I do think that number will go down. But I think right now, for me and what I've seen, and being a paper tiger right now, I mean, we haven't seen them put anything together. That offensive line's a mess, in my opinion. If it comes out strong and they're really good, then the next time we play in Buffalo, this confidence level will definitely be down. But for right now, it's an 8. There still is a couple of ticks that they can do it and do it well, and the defense is good enough to not have it a little bit higher. But right now, I'm going to stick it at an 8. But it could very well go to a 4 or 5 next time they play if they prove it over the first, and their schedule's hard. If they prove it over the first 7 or 8 games, then the back half of the year, then I'm going to have to change my score next time we speak, AJ. But my score prediction, I got to keep it standard of the Going Deep podcast in my show there. I can't just change score predictions every 3 days. But I got 31-13. Think the Bills defense get it done, and I think they'll get some turnovers. I really do. I think that they'll be able to turn the ball over. I think you'll see a play on special teams today. And I got 31-13. That doesn't mean that they absolutely destroyed their defense. I think it just means they played a really good football game. And you get primetime Josh. I think he's going to want to show that DJ Reed can't lock up his number 1 receiver. So I think you're going to get the best version of Josh. Can they keep the high riding into the Raiders next week, AJ? That's going to be the question.
Yeah, I'm going to go same confidence level, but I'm going to give it a different explanation. I've kind of already went through it, but I think it's the narrative. The players know that the Jets offseason has been their Super Bowl. It's kind of been the talking point. I think the Bills have something to prove, and I think they do it tonight. I got a Bills win 24-23. 23-17, 2 minutes, 30 seconds left. Sorry, I'm not going to get this specific for every week, but since it's the first weekend of football, I have to. 23-17, 2 minutes, 30 seconds left, 1 timeout. Josh Allen's ball drives down the field, Dalton Kincaid touchdown, and Dalton Kincaid is the best first-round pick in the history of Brandon Beane. That's what would be said. I don't know about that, but that's what would be said. So that's kind of my prediction. That's where I'm going. 24-23 Bills. We are about 30 minutes away, folks, from the Bills kickoff. I'm excited. You're excited. David is excited in the chat. He says, let's go. I'm really looking forward to it. If you're listening on audio tomorrow, thank you. I appreciate it. It's going to be a preview, but you can still look at the talking points. It's greatly appreciated. If you liked it live, please like, share, subscribe. I'm really excited. I really don't know what else to say. I'm talking faster and faster as I go here. So here with Kevin Masseri, it's AJ Sabalski with AJ's Analysis. I will see you next week. And again, hopefully the Bills squeak this one out and move to 1-0. If not, it's not the end of the world. The Chiefs and Bengals are 0-1. So you got to move on, and you're going to have to figure it out. You have the talent, so figure it out. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.